Hi, everybody. My name is Curtis Walker, and welcome to the next video. Yesterday, I had the chance to be here with the Michigan bro, Jonathan. It's Saturday morning. I think it's the 24th, January 24th. Got snow on the ground. Snowing down here in Texas. Hey, good day to be alive. Good day to be a Miami Hurricane. And I was, it's funny. They tell people they do this, they do this, do that, but it's not that. It's this. So, in case you don't know, that's why you see people doing that. It represents the you. So, yeah, my name is Curtis Walker, and yeah, welcome to the next video. I'm gonna get some stuff up now. So I didn't need to put that up, but I did to put that up. So a little oopsie right there. It's all right. So last night we talked about the season, and we talked about college football playoffs. We talked about drinking a little hot tea. It's beautiful out with the snow. You don't generally get snow down here in Texas, so we talked about that. We actually covered a little bit of the roster, the transfer portal, who's in and who's out, but we didn't go in depth because it didn't stop because we were really engaged in the conversation. It was really good. So if you could, please go check out that video. This is obviously a new channel. I also have another channel, Curtis. Welcome to my crazy life, where I post a lot of stuff, but most of it's motorcycle content. As we ride down here in the Texas area, Texas generally can ride all year round as long as there's no ice or no snow. Today, there's going to be ice and snow, so we're kind of shut in. And yeah, so I don't know how people feel about the season as it went. I think that it was a good season. I think that me personally, I think the Miami Hurricanes should have won the college football championship. That's neither here nor there because you can't go back and relitigate the outcome. But they played well. Uh, Great team. 13-3 was the final record. And if you had told many Miami Hurricanes at the beginning of the season that the Hurricanes would be 10-2, a lot of people would select that. Some people thought they were going to be 9-3. But of course, most people wanted to get that ACC championship. That did not happen. Duke won the ACC championship, and these things happen. Then there was that debate, about that final seed for the college football playoffs, where Miami actually won, and Notre Dame was left out. I don't necessarily look at it as Notre Dame was left out. I look at it as Miami actually won, and the reason being, obviously, because head to head has to matter, right? The results on the field do matter. So fortunately, Miami played well enough, had a couple hiccups, lost to Louisville, lost to SMU, had some great wins in there. Notre Dame to start the season off. SFU, I mean, it was SFU? USF, when they were ranked. A lot of people don't think that Louisville was ranked, but I believe Louisville was ranked when they played them. Uh, that was a loss. Beat FSU, then get into the playoffs. Beat Texas A&M in Texas A&M. Beat the Ohio State, uh, and then beat Ole Miss, and then finally got to Hard Rock Stadium for a home game for the national championship. Uh, was not a traditional home game, and as the Hurricanes were clearly outnumbered in that stadium. Definitely some ticket gentrification going on there. But yeah, overall, great season. And here we are looking into 2026. I like to say, be right back because I believe the Hurricanes actually were a year early. I know people look back at the Cam Ward season, and of course, being up 21-0 to Syracuse and losing that game, people took that hard. But, a lot goes on between 18 and 22-year-olds. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. But you got to like where the program is heading, right? For since 2006, 2007, basically, hadn't had a lot of 10-win seasons, and now you have two 10-win seasons back to back. And of course, it's more than 10 wins. You had the 2017 season. That was a great season under Mark Rich. This green tea is really good, guys. So, and then you had some sporadic 8-win seasons in there, but you never really got the feeling that there was a momentum building and that the Hurricanes were playing quote unquote to the standard. The standard obviously being the championship years, right, from '87 to 2001 and 2002 as well. Even though you lost the championship on the seriously controversial call, which it's just interesting how those things. But some people say you got to exercise those. I don't necessarily think that. I think that this is this year's team. This is this. This is this now. I really like what Coach Marable says that the U is here. It's not back. I don't think the U ever left. I think that we just had our trials and tribulations as many programs go. Nebraska's not good right now, and they were good. Penn State's not good right now, and they were good. Michigan has up years and down years. Bama wasn't good for a period, and then all of a sudden Nick Saban's there, so they are good. LSU is going through their stuff now. Florida's going through their stuff now. Unfortunately for the Miami Hurricane fans, it was a period of about 17 years of displacement, not being on the national scene in a position that Hurricanes fans and the community was used to being in. That being said, here we are right now. And so, yeah. Hi, everybody, real quick. So this is a new channel. This is new content. I am your host, Curtis. And generally, I'm here with the Michigan bro, Jonathan, giving you some Miami Hurricane sports content, just updating things that are going on and our opinions. We're just fans like anyone else. So if you like the content, please join in the conversation. We'd appreciate your comments, your thoughts, opinions, even advice. And let's get back to the show. So I want to quickly, I'll put this up on the screen so you can see this, what I want to talk about right now. So we're going to talk about the current roster, right? And I'll tell you how we got that. We'll talk about the transfer portal, and we'll also talk about who's in and who's out, obviously, with the transfer portal. And again, as I did last night, where to find Miami Hurricanes information, how it is that I find information. Now, I'm a casual sports fan. I like the New York Rangers, Dallas Cowboys, Miami Hurricanes. Don't really have a basketball team now that Kobe Bryant's not playing anymore. I generally support the Duke team. I don't like the term Blue Devils, but that's because Christianity. Nevertheless, but I enjoy sports like anybody else. I enjoy sporting events. There's a lot of football down here in Texas. I always try to tell people that Texas is a wonderful place for sports, particularly high school football. There's a huge difference. Let me hydrate real quick. There's a huge difference in Texas football to football in comparison across the country. When you walk into Texas football stadiums, you think you're in a pro stadium. You see the resources from weight room to the equipments to the facilities, maintenance, the amount of money that's allocated towards football particularly, and then all the other sports, badminton, tennis, track and field. There's just so much as far as athletics goes in Texas. If the kids in Florida had the same resources, oh my goodness. I would say football down here is real. It is the best football, I believe, played in the country. I have not seen football live in California, but I would be hard pressed to believe that it's better than Texas football. The stadiums, Friday Night Lights is a genuine thing down here. They're really into it. From spring practice, it's like a year-round thing. And the fields that they play on, semi-professional. I mean, some fields are professional. It's just ridiculous. And I always look at that and I say the best football is in Texas, but the best football players are in Florida. Make no doubt about that. Let's make that clear that the best football players are in Florida. As being a Florida kid, I was born in West Palm Beach at St. Mary's Hospital, right by the beach. I'm pretty sure people know about it if you understand where West Palm Beach is, and that West Palm Beach is approximately an hour down 95 outside of Miami. Grew up in Miami as well, and then moved to New York as a youngster. Well, I can't say I moved. My mom, she moved, and then my aunts, they sent me off to be with my mom. All right. So, yeah, I think that when you look at football, particularly high school football, it's a blessing to be able to play in the sport. It's as they say, it's a blessing to have this opportunity, and then for these kids to have the experience of being able to go to these Division I schools, to play in these Division I programs, to have life-changing events that are happening for them, even if they don't make it to the NFL, which a lot of people do dream, but some people do not. Some people just enjoy the fact that they're getting the opportunity to play football at a high level. This is incredible for them. It's life-changing, especially now with the NIL, name, image, and likeness deals. That's a crazy situation. I don't know if you watched last night or yesterday, Dabo Swinney talking about Pete Golding and Ole Miss tampering with players over there. Of course, there are many people that subscribe to the fact that tampering is going on all across the sport. Whether you're watching Josh Pate, who covers it, whether you're watching Colin Cowherd or Joe Clapp or Kane's Insight, you hear so much about what's going on. You hear the background stories. Of course, you never know as a fan what really is going on because you're not there in the room at the time of these discussions, these phone calls, these deals, transactions that happen back and forth. But we see the end result, and the end result is the product that's put on the field. And for Miami Hurricanes, for the last 2 years, you can say that end result and that product has been really, really good. And we got to thank the coaching staff. We got to thank the recruiting staff, got to thank player development, got to thank the whole administration and the ACC as well. And ESPN for giving us great games, great college games on Saturdays and Sundays and Thursdays and Fridays. Don't particularly like the Friday night games, particularly if you're a Miami Hurricanes, because strange things happen on Friday nights. Get a sip again. All right, so let me see if I can get something going on up here. I'm going to try and get the yes, now I have it. So I'm going to pull up right now so you can see what's going on as far as the roster, and I'll tell you how I got there. Didn't want that one to come up, but because I got a little blank right there. Let me go back out of that. And I'm looking for the roster. I got the roster. Well, shoot. I think I messed up here, guys. Let's see. I'm going to put the roster up on the right-hand or the left-hand side of the screen. Well, first, let me put it this way. So this is the current Miami Hurricanes roster as it stands today. And I basically researched all of this information from the internet, which allowed me to, I guess, collect or gather the information that you see by looking at who was currently on the roster and also who was projected or had indicated that they had entered the transfer portal. And then the rest of it is pretty much self-explanatory, that you're basically have to just have what's left over. So in my case, I did the spreadsheet, and this is what I came up with. Now, here's the point behind all that. That I'm not, I don't work for the Miami Hurricanes. I'm just a fan like you. And you can get this information. It's readily available, whether you Google it, whether you get it from Canes Morning or ESPN or 247, the rosters. So I just want to go through it. From what I found, I'm sharing it with you so you can have an idea of what's going on as far as roster-wise with the team. Now I'm going to bring myself back on with the roster, and we can talk our way through it. Okay, so for those that do not know, Darian Mensah was quarterback for the Duke Blue Devils last year. He entered the transfer portal. I'm not going to get all into the background. He waited till the last moment. Miami was playing in the championship. He entered in after that day, and that he said he was no longer going to play for the Duke Blue Devils. He was under contract for 2 years for an NI deal of about $8 million. That's the skinny of it. Of course, Duke being upset that he didn't want to no longer be a part of the Duke team, decided to take the case to courts, and that is where it's at now. And you can Google Darian Mensah and find all that. But the projected starting quarterback for not the Dallas Cowboys, the Miami Hurricanes next year would be Darian Mensah. Also on the roster is Judd Anderson, Luke Nickel, and then Darian Coleman, and then a guy named Borchers. So Darian Coleman is a freshman, and that's what you'll see with the yellow right there, the F next to it. Is he is a freshman? He came in with this 2026 signing class. Luke Nickel being a redshirt freshman. I believe he redshirted last year, and then Judd Anderson being a redshirt sophomore. Now, before I go any further there, so those are the quarterbacks that you would have. I would like to look over at the transfer portal because there is one name that familiar to Miami Hurricane fans, and that's Emory Williams. Emory Williams is a quarterback. I'm selecting it. He entered the transfer portal after the championship game, and that he has now signed with East Carolina University. Wish Emory the best. I think my personal opinion is that I thought Emory was well equipped to lead the Miami Hurricanes in 2026. I thought he was well equipped to lead the Miami Hurricanes in 2025. But let's talk about Emory for just 1 second. Most people look at Emory and they remember the Pop-Tart Bowl. They forget Clemson. They forget FSU. They forget but all of the quote-unquote reps against Bethune-Cookman and other games that he played in. I think that Emery played well in the Pop Tart Bowl. Of course, people can come at me for that and they say, no, there's no way he did. And I will tell you why. One, Emery did not play with the starters in the Pop Tart Bowl. Of course, he was prepared, and of course, they called the game in a certain way because they were basically giving a litmus test or a template for what they were going to be in this year. I know if you watch, if you, I would say go back and watch the film, you will see that there are receivers literally running into one another during that game when he was dropping back to pass. You will also see that receivers were running the wrong routes in that game. And that all goes into my concept or my idea of what actually was transpiring on the field against Iowa State in that game. So I don't put that game as like you stamp of approval, like, that's what Emery looks like. I look at all the variety of factors that were involved in that. And I would say that that was not all on him, why he played that way. And then basically for the second half, or three, I would say they only had the ball like 3 or 4 possessions. They did score in 2 of them. I would say that he was put in an envious position to be able to pass to win the game after the defense, again, during the 2024 season, could not catch a cold, could not stop anyone. And they actually had the lead. So hypothetically speaking, if the defense had played well enough in that game, then Emery would not have been put in a position where he could have been trying to win the game with 47 seconds left. That being said, they did not win the game, and I understand people's feelings and sentiments towards Emery Williams. But from my understanding, the coaching staff, from what I've read, the coaching staff really loved Emery, particularly Shannon Dawson. And if you watch the spring practice last year, he was clearly the best quarterback on the field. Of course, Carson Beck was injured and he was coming back and he was going to be ready for summer. But the narrative out there about Emery that he cannot play, I just think that those are narratives. And I think that sometimes as fans and particularly sports writers, they suffer from recency bias. For instance, Luke Nichols been on the team, and now Darian Coleman's coming on, and now they just forget everybody, forget Judd, forget all these people, and then Darian Minson's on it, forget Judd, forget Coleman. So we always have this recency bias that I would say taints our opinions and shapes and molds our thinkings, and sometimes that's not necessarily right. And I always say, case in point, look at Tom Brady. Recency bias says Tom Brady was supposed to be a scrub, but he ended up being TB12, and we all know the story when he was on Michigan and to where he is now. And so sometimes this mirage or this myth that's put out there isn't necessarily what's accurate. And I think that sometimes we need to take a step back and really look at these things holistically and then come to a really even-keeled opinion, because the best thing that you can be in football is calm and cool and collective. When you're too high or too low, generally doesn't work out well. And that doesn't work out well in life as well. So, yeah. I look at Emery. So Emery entered into the portal, and now he's signed with East Carolina. Not only did Emery sign, I believe that Ray signed, which is right there. So why don't we just stay right there? Transfer portal out right now. There you see from the line, I think it's Darcy Plaz. I think he signed with Auburn. Kinsler, I believe Tommy Kinsler the fourth. He's also he also entered the transfer portal. I think that he signed with Auburn. JoJo, they're saying from what I've read on Kane's Insight, 247, Kane's Warning, you can get the same information that I'm reading, is that there's a possibility that he may sign with NC State to go and, I guess, reacquaint himself with his high school quarterback, Mr. Bailey. I personally, this is just my hunch, that maybe somebody gets to him and talks to him, because I thought that he was going to be a great player, very productive player. Maybe I think this year. I also believe that sometimes, this is my opinion, I don't know what goes on in the locker room. I don't know what's going on in the building. I don't know what the coaching staff is thinking. I don't know what the player is doing. But sometimes I think that when you're a hard-nosed coach, or when you have a philosophy about the way football should be played or the way people should approach the game of football, sometimes you may not look at the talented player the same way, that you look at a player that really works hard, very detailed, very pro. So they say hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. But sometimes I always say that you need to get your talented people on the field. And even if a talented person may not have the work ethic of a person that really works hard, talent wins out a lot more than you think. Some people, I mean, it's hard to duplicate a 6'8" basketball player versus a 5'10" basketball player, right? The 5'10" basketball player can really work hard, to understand the fundamentals, to have his great footwork. 6'8" still 6'8". And I think that sometimes, 4'4" is still 4'4". The ability to catch is still the ability to catch. The ability to block, size matters, right? We heard that from Coach. Cristobal. Now my phone's going off. That was Jonathan, who's was on last night, and that's the reason I have my headphones on. I monitor my voice, but I can also monitor what's coming in. So sometimes talent matters. I'm going to hydrate real quick, and I don't know because I don't know in the building. I don't know how the receiving coach, how the offensive coordinator, the assistant offensive coordinator, the player development, Coach Cristobal. I don't know how they felt about JoJo. I don't know how JoJo felt about them, and those are all factors involved in his decision as well as his performance. So I'm just gonna leave it at that. But I think that as a fan, I would have loved to see JoJo get more opportunities. I believe that he was definitely more explosive than C.J. Daniels. Even though C.J. Daniels was a great player, he played really, really well, performed. I just think that there was some potential left out there, whether it be Josh Moore, Ray Joseph when he was there. What's his name? JoJo Trader. Obviously, you saw Dylan Upshaw get in there. And sometimes I think that the narrative, even within the building, shapes decision making. And I don't know about that. Anyway, so JoJo's gone. Ray's also gone. I would love to see Ray in one slot and Malachi Tony in the other slot. I think that would have been a tremendous opportunity for the Miami Hurricanes. I think that there's no rule that says you have to play the same three receivers, the same sets, the same personnel groupings. I don't ascribe to that as a person that has played football, not on the level of professional football, but I was pretty good, and I also know that speed kills. Speed kills. Malik Bryant, he was a hybrid defensive end linebacker. He also entered the transfer portal, and I believe that he's actually going to Missouri. This is an interesting situation because while he's going to Missouri, Damon Wilson, he's coming to Miami. So it's like basically swapped ends. Scott, he went to Indiana a couple of weeks before the national championship game. That was sketchy. Just throwing it out there. Donta Simpson, who many fans thought was going to be playing in the national championship game. I don't know if he actually played I think he did play against Ohio State and Texas A&M, but very talented, a lot of size, very twitchy, and people were looking forward to him coming up for the 2026 season as being a part of the rotation, and he chose to go into the transfer portal. Dylan Russell as well, another big defensive tackle, chose to go in the transfer portal. Jadis Richard, quarterback, defensive back, just this past week, I believe he entered the transfer portal. He has not signed as far as I know. Chance Robinson entered the transfer portal, I believe. I don't know exactly where he signed. I remember it, but I just can't recall it at the moment. Nino Francavilla, who I believe is from Canada, he entered the transfer portal, from my understanding, from Kane's Insight that I've heard. Very nice person, very nice family. Artavius Jones, who is a person I was really looking forward to seeing getting in the field, especially when Ahmad Moten got hurt during the Ohio State game. I was like, I think he's got to be ready to play. But unfortunately, he entered the transfer portal as well. Jack McManus was a linebacker. I know that many people probably don't even know who he is, but he entered the transfer portal, if I'm correct, as well as Bobby Washington, who was a linebacker, entered the transfer portal. Came out, I think he was 4-star, a lot of speed, sideline to sideline, great tackling ability, coverage ability. I don't know exactly what happened, but I think he entered the transfer portal last year as well. And then this year he's gone. And then the freshman, Amari Williams, which a lot of people thought, but I think Amari is rather small. And if you notice that the Miami Hurricanes defensive backs, I would say every defensive back on the squad that actually plays and plays during portions of the game that matters is about at least 6 feet. 6 feet. And I think Amari's a little short, around 5'9", 175, something in that area. So those are the people that left the team. And then let's talk about the transfer portal in 2026, the people that did join the team that are here. So the first person of note, and I'm going to put that up on the screen for you, is Jamal Merriweather. Let me put that up right here. So Jamal Merriweather is a left tackle, if I'm correct. I'm pretty sure I'm correct. I'm just doing a little something right here. I'm going to duplicate this, and so I can get me on the screen with you as well. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to put There we go. All right, guys. All right, so Jamal Merriweather, he is a left tackle. From my understanding, did not play a lot at Georgia, but 6'7", 305 pounds. I always look at these weights and say that as they're generally off by 10 to 15 pounds. So let's say he's going to be 6'7", about 320 by the time season get here. That's great size. I have not looked at his highlights, but from my understanding, this is a person that Miami really targeted, as well as Jordan Seaton, who then eventually signed with LSU. Good luck to him. I don't believe in luck, but best of wishes with him. Hope that he has success in his position and in his life and his endeavors. But so Jamal Murray will be taking I believe that he signed as they're projecting, right? As I see right here on my screen, left tackle Merriweather would probably be your starter. But I think there's some great in-house options. Again, I'm not in the building. I don't know what the coaching staff sees. I know they want to put the best five out there. But let's just say he's a left tackle. The next person of note that they did sign or did commit to the Miami Hurricanes is a wide receiver from West Virginia. I'm putting him on the screen. His name is Cam Vaughn. I did see his highlights. I think he's an upgrade of C.J. Daniels, 100%. I think that he's more explosive. I think his first step is really good. Obviously, he has a nice catch radius, a little bit of elusiveness. I know that he tracks the ball well from the highlights that I've seen. So I think that he's really good. I know that Kane's Insight and Manny Navarro and Gabby Uridia, and you can read about all these. There were some issues about some things that happened in West Virginia. I'm gonna hydrate. I don't necessarily know all that stuff, what goes on in the buildings of other people. I don't know what goes in the building of here. I barely know what's going in the building of my house. So, yeah. So he's also going to be on. I think that that's going to be a really good thing that it happens. Okay, then moving on to Mr. Vandrevius Jacobs from South Carolina. If you haven't seen him, definitely check out his highlights. I've seen. There's one highlight, I can't remember the team that he was playing, where he caught the ball on a little skinny post and he split the seam between the two safeties, and he was gone. He was gone. And that type of speed, I don't think that he runs a 4.3, but 4.4 is fast enough, and the ability to take the ball at its catch point. I would say catch, secure, advance. These are the rules. You want to catch it, secure it, and advance. I think that sometimes, we get in our wiggle, and as being a receiver, you want to catch the ball. You got your eye looking over your shoulder, and you can feel the defender. But I would say that the best receivers, from Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice, Randy Moss, they kind of felt the receiver, they felt the defensive back where they were at. And as you would catch the ball and you were catching it and securing it, then you can advance. But you can't advance without the ball. And so many times you see when there are drops, it's generally because we reversed it. We're trying to advance. We're trying to do a step or make a football move, right, before we actually have secured the ball. I really like the fact that the two, Cam Vaughn as well as Vandrevius Jacob, a lot of the highlights I've seen, they were catching the ball with their hands. Nothing wrong with catching the ball with your body, but when you catch the ball with the body, there's the opportunity for the ball to hit your shoulder pads or hit your shoulder and then bounce off, which then would negate your ability to secure the ball, especially if you're being hit at the same time. Sometimes you got to catch the ball with your body, depending on the situation. But catching the ball, especially when the ball's out in front of you, allows you to continue the forward momentum, get ahead of steam, and take off. So I really like the fact that he definitely knows what to do. When he kicks it into gear, he kicks it into gear. All right. So the next person that a big pickup that they're talking about, you hear it all over, is Damon Wilson. He played for the Missouri Tigers. Many people look at him as a Ruben Bain replacement. I'm going to get into the defensive line in a minute. I don't know if he's as twitchy. I don't think they're the same size as Ruben Bain, but as a defensive end, he played in the SEC. Saw some highlights, had some good, reps against, they always say the reps against Alabama, but, doesn't matter who you're repping against, when you rep, and then your intangibles. I always say, this is something that I would say when I'm playing football. Your eyes don't lie. They could say somebody say, hey, he's super fast. He runs 4.3. But on the football field, he gets caught from behind. Your eyes don't lie. Some people can be 4.3 and some people can be 4.6, but they play faster. That's just football. It's just sports. Some people they move faster. They react faster. Their timing's better. And, that's what matters more than quote unquote your measurables. Oh, he's 6'3", runs a 4.3, 225 pounds, 38 inch vertical. There's a lot of people that have that, and for some reason, it doesn't pan out. And then they'll say somebody, well, he's 6'2", about 185 pounds, runs about a 4.6, Jerry Rice. But on the field, timing's exquisite, game speed is exquisite, the understanding spatial wisdom is exquisite, and so I would say your eyes don't lie. Your eyes don't lie. So I look at him and I say, your eyes don't lie. I don't want him to be Ruben Bain. He needs to be Damon Wilson. He's going to get to work with the great Damian Lewis, Corey Heatherman, and Jason Taylor. So he's a big pickup. They're looking forward to big things from him. So yeah, the next person is Jarquez Carter. Jarquez Carter was a person that Miami was very interested in during the recruiting cycle, and he unfortunately signed with Ohio State. But now he's coming home. He's from Newberry, Florida, and so this is a big pickup. I think that he's going to play right away. They're very looking forward to getting him in the building, getting him with that nutrition. If you notice something about the Miami Hurricane defensive tackles, particularly, when you remember Vince Wilfork, Jerome Brown, like these body Vince was obviously a little bit bigger, but Jerome Brown, the body types of these people, Miami Hurricane guys, they always look big, but they don't look grossly fat. And I think that right there is a testament to whatever's going on in that building with the strength and conditioning, because they look big and athletic. Ahmad Moulton looks big and athletic. David Blade looks big. He's a little portly, but he looks more athletic than he did last year. What's his name? Josh Hart. He looks big and athletic. Armando Blunt, another one, big and athletic. When you look at the ends, Ruben Bain and Keem Mesidor, they're big, twitchy, and athletic. They've cut down their body fat. I mean, they look like they hit the weights. They look like they could be runners, what do you do? Shot put, wrestling, taekwondo, whatever the case. So whatever they're doing in the building in Miami, it's working, and you're not getting these big, sloppy, out of shape people. You'll see in the SEC, they like these big defensive tackles, and nothing wrong with that. But big defensive tackles that are sloppy, don't have stamina, don't have conditioning, they can't last. Where it just appears that something really good is going on in that strength and conditioning program, and the nutrition as well. So he's another person right here. The 6'1", 288. I'm gonna guess about 297, 292 pounds, athletic person. And then the final person outside of the kickers of note that did sign a couple kickers is a person named Omar Thornton from Boston College, another kid from Florida who did not immediately go to the Hurricanes, went up to Boston College. They say he's a thumper. If you haven't watched the Hurricanes this year, I believe the word that Jacoby Thomas used to say is that the defensive back group, something not right with us. And I think that you have people, you need that in the defense. You're not trying to hurt anybody. You're not trying to maim anybody. You're not trying to end anybody's career. Let's make that clear. But you do want a physical presence. You want people to understand that if you come across the middle, there's a price to be paid for that pass. And you might pay it this time, and it may not affect you this time, but you get hit a couple more times. And a case in point, if you go back to the Ohio State game, there was a play in there where Carnell Tate was getting a ball, and he was trying to catch it I think it was the right on the right hash, and he short armed that bad boy because he knew Jacoby Thomas was coming, and Jacoby Thomas hit him anyway. And I'm not saying that's always going to change or alter the game, but you definitely need that, whether it's Basaint or Moturi, Jacoby Thomas or Poyser. You need somebody coming downhill with some attitude, with some bad intentions. You need bad intentions on the football field. You also need to play, I would say, more half turn, and then catch those interceptions. 2 interceptions were dropped in the college football playoff game. There were 3, but 2 major ones. O.J. Federico in the end zone hit him in his chest. Played great coverage, was on top, and then of course Ethan O'Connor. It was there for him. That was a pick 6. But instead of actually putting the other hand forward, catching that ball and keep striding through it, running through the play and finishing it, he put one arm around the shoulder and one arm in front because I don't know if he didn't trust it or whatever the case would be, but he deflected it. This is what I'll say as a person that has played cornerback and safety. Own the ball. When the ball is in the air, it's just as much as yours as it is the offensive player. So you need to own the ball, and you need to attack the ball. If it's high, attack it at its highest point. If it's low, attack it at its lowest point. But you need to own the ball. And the reason that I would say this is particularly when you're playing against teams that like to back shoulder throw. I, as a cornerback, I like to get in my stance, and I like to be very relaxed. And I don't know what's going on in defensive backs coaches nowadays, but you see a lot of shuffling and shuffling at their feet, side stride, and that's good. But the one thing that I think is really missing is that when you're here and an offensive player, I don't need to look at the ball. If I'm playing man to man, I don't need to know anything. The only thing I need to know is look at that person's waist. I'm looking at that waist because you can't go no. You can do all of this. You can do the hand movement. You can do the side chaps. You can do all of that. I want to see that waist. And if I pay attention to your waist, there is no way that you're getting away from me. So I need to. I'm going to focus in. I'm going to lock in on your waist, and whichever side you end up going after you made your initial move, the next thing I want to do is I want to punch your shoulder. And the reason I want to punch your shoulder is because that immediately gets you off stride and throws you off a half second. Most offenses are based on timing. So if I can throw you off a half second and then I want to get in your running lane, which means I want to grapple with you. I see a lot of them running and grappling on the shoulder pads. But if I get my arm underneath your arm, running is a fluid motion. You cannot run like that. You can't run with somebody grappling with you. You're going to be off balance. Your timing's going to be off. You're going to be stumbled. So I want to get physical. I want to get in you like this. I want to watch your waist. If you want to make your move, I want to hit that shoulder with a nice jab, and then I want to get close to you and I want to grapple with you. Now, if your teams like that, they like to throw the back shoulder throw that they did right there. The easiest way was what Frederick did. I want to get in touch with you, and now I'm with you. I know I want to watch with you as your head's going around, my head's going around. If you go faster, I'm going faster. If you want to push off of me, I'm going to tug you. You can't push off on me because that's just not going to happen. And I think that coaches need to get back to Jack Tatum, Everson Walls, Deion Sanders, Rod Wilson. What's the guy that played for Denver, number 24, Champ Bailey. If you go back and watch any of their film, you're going to see how they did. They like to get in that waist. Aeneas Williams, they like to get in that waist. And then I want to get close. I want to get up close and personal with you. I want to get up close and personal with you. And that back shoulder throw, we're going to negate that. That's the one throw that we're going to take away. The other way to do it is I want to get here, and as you do your move, I want to step back, and I want to extend my hand on top of you. I want to get in front of you, slow you down. I'm ahead of you, and now I can see the ball and I can see the player. So those are two techniques that I think that you don't see as much in college now. You see most of the people getting free release and then running with them and mirroring and shadowing them. Now, that's great. You got great hips, great foot speed. But I think the best ways to do it is to get up close and personal with these people. I want to lay hands on them. All right, so this is Omar Thornton. He likes to lay hands on people. In case you do not know, I don't know how I got into all of that. He's from Boston College, and now he's coming in, and he's also going to play for the Miami Hurricanes. Excuse me. Now let's go back to the roster. So we covered right there the transfer portal. We've covered the people that have come in. So we started with Mensah, the quarterback, and now let's talk about right tackle. So right tackle, believe they want to pencil in Cantwell, freshman. And then I'm going to assume that Samson Okunlola or McCoy is going to play either of the guards. You also got a Manaya, Winston. And then at center, is it going to be Olufatulu? Is it going to be Rodriguez? You got Rudrow coming in as a freshman as well. You also got a Johnson on the team. Left guard, again, whether that's Sampson or McCoy, you got Buchanan, you got Alfonso, you got Sparks is a huge boy, and then Pickett, I think he's about 335 pounds. He's a legacy. So I don't know. Maybe Joe Irvin, you see on the bottom there, you got Campbell, Cogden, big kid as well as Irvin. So that rounds out your quarterback and your line. Getting to the slot, obviously everybody knows Malachi Tony, but I think Vince Fastberg coming in from Mission Viejo, California, is going to be a really good team. I'm looking forward to this. Is my thing, and I will say this again. I watched the game, and I thought, in case you don't know who Bruce Warner is, or you don't watch Locked On Canes, I think they call him the truth teller. I told him before the game, I said, it makes no sense. I think the Miami needs to go 5 wide. This is me. I thought Miami was going to win 48-13. I can explain it to you why I believe that. And if I can go back and take some plays from Indiana and put some plays from Miami, you can see that Miami should have won. They should have won going away. It did not happen. So I think that they should have gone 5 wide. Indiana was allowed to play 3 linebackers for the entire game and 12 people. That should not have happened against the Miami any South Florida team because you don't have the body, you don't have the stamina, and there was a way to attack them, which they did in the second half that they should have came out immediately. Indiana would have been tired by the third quarter, and then you could have leaned on them and basically put the game away by just running up and down the field because they really didn't have an answer for it. If you think from the last drive of the first half to the end of the game, Miami was basically able to do what they wanted to do on the offense, and they were driving to win the game at the end of the game. And that play, every single player was open with a little bit of throw. That is a touchdown, but you had to worry about that because that means you gave the ball back to Mendoza with basically like 40 seconds left. I'm okay with that because the defense was playing well. But every single player, if you go back and watch the last play, down the seam, Bauman was open for 20. He would have scored. He would have had 20, 25, 35. He would have got down to the 10 or 5-yard line, possibly. On the right-hand side, CJ was open for a 20-yard play. He probably would have got down to the 15, 10 as well. And then Malachi was open in the middle of the middle of the field for a 10 to 15-yard gain. Of course, the throw was to Keely Amari on the left-hand side. If he throws that ball towards the outbounds or towards the line, and he leads them, if he throws it a half a second earlier, it's a touchdown, or he's going to be tackled at the 5-yard line. Very similar to the play that they did against Louisville. Go back and watch that. I think Coach Hayes put up a clip where you see the exact same throw, and he made it. This throw, he was a half a second off, which caused the ball to be late, and we all know the end result. Okay, so I think Vaughn, I think next year, if it were me, I would definitely have more 5 wide receiver sets because the speed that they're going to put on the field was probably not going to be matched by any team. I think they're going to have 9 great. If they get Cooper Barcate, I personally think that JoJo should come back. But, I'm not in the building. So if they get Cooper Barcate, you're talking about having 9 receivers that all should play. All should play. And I think tempo as well as the physicality of the Miami offensive line will be instrumental in them being in position where they can dominate games, lead scorers, get their second and third string players on, get that player development. And I think where they're scoring about 33 points a game this year probably should be somewhere near 40 next year, if not more. But what do I know? So you got Tony Spafford, a guy named Thomas. Don't think you've seen him play. As a wide receiver, you got Josh Moore. You're going to have Cam Vaughn, who we just talked about, Dylan Upshur, and then Tyreek Evans is coming in. And then for those people that don't know, Nykar entered the transfer portal, but he's now back on the Miami Hurricanes. And then there's Burton and Luna. Those I think they might be walk-ons. Okay, the other wide receiver, you have Jacobs, Vandrevius Jacobs. You have Samarian Wingo, who's getting rave reviews from the amount of preparation and help that he did during the playoffs. He arrived on campus. Milan Paris, who's a legitimate 6'6", and is a legitimate 4.3, might be 4.4 player. So he's going to be there. And then there's a Pickus and there's a Cohen. Moving down to the running back room, the big news was Gerard Pringle into the transfer portal, but now he's back with the Miami Hurricanes. Woohoo! And so you have, I believe all 5 will play consistently next year. So you got Fletcher, who came back, Jordan Lyles. He has not entered the transfer portal. You got Cadillac Wheatley, Shamar Brown, Pringle, and then Javier Marley from Florida. He's also there. And then you got 2 other people, Walden 2 and Whitehouse. At the tight end, you're going to have Luka Gilbert. You're going to have Elijah Lofton. I believe Mueller is a kid that's coming in. I believe you're going to definitely have some great sets. And Rusevich, Ezreal Briggs. There's 2 Carvers. There's a Raymond, and then there's Nickel, the brother. I think Nickel's graduating, though. But let's just say that you're going to be able to put out on some nice 2 tight end sets and spread them out with Gilbert, 6'6", I think 6'7". Mueller's like 6'7", and then Lofton. Rusevich is another big kid. I think the tight end room, as well as Israel Briggs, he's going to be a tweener. He's about 220 pounds. Probably going to put some weight on, get to about 235. But great skill, great ball skills. You're going to be able to split them out. Maybe like a Bubba Franks type deal or a Kellen Winslow type deal with him. I can see that coming. So tight end room looks spectacular. The left end, of course, Damon Wilson. You got Scroggins, you got McConaughey, and then you got Anthony Lafayette that came in as well. I think Lightfoot's going to be there. Obviously, these guys rotate and switch sides. Lightfoot, Hayden Lowe, who they think is going to be a superstar. The other Pickett, Chukra, the guy that was committed to Penn State, but then He flipped to Miami, and then Micah Newton, who also was on the team, and I think Micah Newton played on the same team as Jaquez Carter, so that's good. And then you got Ricks, defensive tackles, Moton, Jaquez Carter, Stansel, who they're raving about, Bacon, Frederick Santos, who's they're raving about, Logan Nagel, big boy coming in, Armando Blunt, and Scott. So they're just loaded. Then at the linebacker, a guy that you probably don't know, they expect to have the guy transfer from, I believe, North Carolina State before, was Bonner. You got Cam Pruitt, Popo, Popo Aguirre. You got Ashari Charles and Edwards coming in as freshmen. Then you got some people that you might not know about, Lamar, Rizzo, or Cortez. You also got Kevin Wiley. Motori said that he's coming back. And then you have Hayes, Marcelin, Campbell, and Bush. Bush is supposed to be a thumper as well. At the star position, obviously, you got Thornton. You got Damari Brown. I think Chris Ewald. You got a kid named Allen. But, you don't know who's going to play the star or the safety, but I just kind of listed them that way. Moving down to the safety, obviously, you got Fitzgerald, Dylan Day, and Camden Portis, obviously a legacy. Clinton's son they're saying he's looking really good in the practices during the championship run. You got Poyser, Dunningham. I think Dunningham's going to play. I think that he is Jacoby Thomas 2.0. I think he's going to play. Cortez Redding. I think I would think I have these color coded where like the rust, like people you definitely know are going to play, but I also think Dunnigan is going to play. At the corners, you can bring him back Frederick, O'Connor, Mack, Waters is a freshman, Lucas, Antoine Jabori, Wyman, Jennings. I think the freshmen will get some stats, but you're going to basically rely on that four-head group of Frederick, O'Connor, Lucas, and Antoine. And that pretty much is the roster. So, this is my outtake or my quick take on the roster as it's coming forward for the 2026 season. You can go back and find any of these players. I would go ESPN.com. Just go ESPN and then put the player that you want to look up. They generally have some highlight films. They have their career statistics, and I'll show you that right now, just in case you want to know what I mean when I say that. So I'm going to put this back up. So, for example, here's Omar Thornton. His 225 stats are total tackles. He had 82, 56 solo, 26 assisted, 2 sacks, 2. I think FF is forced fumbles, 4. He had 1 interception and 1 pass defense. And then you see his 2024 stats. And then you could also look down, right, and you could see the results of the games for Boston College that day, that year. And you can also click over to the stats right there, as you can see right there, and you see some highlights. Omar Thornton had an interception versus Boston College. You could see that. You see those stats. And then you could also look at his bio right there. So you see that this is all on ESPN in case you want to know. And there's a player that you're looking for. You can also find this on 247, I think on 3. I'm also going to put something up for you right now. And let's make sure that I have it right up. So definitely want to let you as the Hurricane fans know that if you're looking for Miami Hurricane information, this is kind of my little list. I don't have a list per se, but when I'm on YouTube, this is where I look. Let me hydrate. So big shout out to a lot of these people. They don't know me. I don't want anything from them. I'm just a curious fan like anybody else. So Miami, the voice of college, I think it's called, has Cam Underwood, who comes, I think it's Thursdays or Wednesday nights. Then there's Brian the Beast London. You can always Google YouTube all of these people. There's Kane Insight with D Money and Pete. Or you say, Pete, jump in here, or whatever the case would be. I like to look up. I like to watch the show when Lance Roffers is on there because he gives great breakdowns of the teams and the opportunities that are available for each side of to be successful. Then there's Miami Flow with Flo and John. I like to watch that. Cafecito and Canes, that's also John from Miami Flow. Miami Hurricanes All Access on YouTube. 305 Sports SS for kids that play in the 305. On 3, you get JD Pickle. Watch a little bit of that. Andy and Ari. I have my opinions about all these shows, but right now the point is information. Joe Klatt. There's the Matt Barry Show. There's Josh Pate College Football Show, which many people know, very popular. Colin Carhart, Cowherd. There's Gramlich and McLean, which is I think they should watch that. They cover a lot of the ACC, and they had a great coverage of the Hurricanes during this run. Locked On Canes is a daily show from the Locked On Network with Dunno. Bruce Warner is always also on that. Locked On College Football, obviously. Then there's Coach Hayes Football for some great information. He also does some student of the game stuff. Inside the U, obviously. Then there's the Orange Bowl boys, three guys. Their characters. Hey, you got to watch it. It is what it is. And then there's the student in the game that comes from them. So that's a good breakdown. There's SMI College Football you can watch. Then there's the Rock Boys Football, who does a little bit of what I do. These guys are all connected in the Miami network. I am not. I live down here in Texas. I'm just a fan like anybody else. There's Rival Recruits. Obviously, he's going to tell you what's going on with recruiting. There's Kane Sport Miami Football with Gary Furman. He's a beat writer, a sports writer, I believe. You often see him in the press conferences or hear him. There's Grant Reacts. Grant's interesting. See Ball, Get Ball with David Pollock. I like that when they're giving the breakdowns. That's what I watch that for. The Cover 3 broadcast, I love when Danny Cannell's on there because he gives the perspective from a football player, and I really like Danny's vibe. Greg McElroy, I like watching him as well. CBS Sports breakdowns. There's Comic on Cage. There's ESPN, and then there's SVP with Stanford Steve. Scott Van Pelt has Stanford Steve. My name is Curtis Walker, and this is Miami Hurricanes, the youth fan in the Michigan Row. I got Jay Sizzles. He comes on the show, so he's always here. So Stanford Steve and SVP, we're coming for you, baby. Then if you go to Twitter, you can get Gabby Uridia. You can get Pete Neckos, On3, 247 Sports, Miami Hurricane Football. Jorge Baez, Director of Player Development. You want to follow him. Caneville, Canes Insight, Gio Milan, Manny Navarro, Mario Cristobal, Kane Sport Miami Hurricanes, Big O and Manny Navarro. I believe that's actually on YouTube. Canes Football, and then Lance Roffers. Finally, for Facebook, if you do that, you want some information, you can follow 305 Sports. You can follow Rudy Rodriguez, that's another interesting one, Showmat, which is a Come On Man Now podcast, I believe it is. Kane Sports, Fan HQ, Grant Reacts, and Bruce Warner. So, guys, I hope that you enjoy the breakdown of the roster. Again, this is not something I would say permanent. This is information that you can go, but it gives you a little nudge in the right direction so you can see what the roster looks like. I believe that Miami was a year earlier. If you had told people before the season began that they're going to be 10-2 and they were going to make the college playoffs, most people would have taken that. Not only were they 10-2, they made the college playoffs and they went on a run and they made it to the championship game. Yes, I know, calm down, did not get the ACC. But, good things are ahead. The sun is still shining. It's good to be a Miami Hurricane fan. So, enjoy. Again, if you are watching and you like the content, the conversation, please join in. I would love to hear your comments. I'd love to see your breakdown of the team. Love to hear what you think about the players that are in the transfer portal and that are leaving. Your idea. People may know a lot more than me about the Miami Hurricanes. I'm pretty sure that they do. But yeah, I'd be welcome to that. And if you could, please like and subscribe. For now, go Miami Hurricanes.